first nomination. Are there any other nominations?
Alex, I would like not to nominate Susan. Anyone else but Susan.
So we have a nomination, you can't not nominate, you
Okay.
can vote though.
Okay.
Any other nomination? Any other nominations? Hearing none, I'm going to call the roll on the nomination of Sue Zabahansky for chairperson.
Do you need a second?
Not the nomination. Oh, yeah, we should.
Is there any,
Oh.
can you have
Yep.
discussion on that? Or
Not
no?
on nomination. Yeah, we can have discussion, sure. Second, Mike,
I'll second.
or Scott? Discussion?
Discussion, I don't think Susan should be the chair, I don't think Susan should be on this commission. She has gone to the state multiple times, saying she doesn't believe in fair rank commissions. So therefore, if you do not believe in fair rank commissions, and I did not know this last year, or I would have said something. If you do not believe in fair rank commissions, I don't think you should be on one or a chair of one. That's all I have to say.
Any other discussion? Just do the minutes as we go along, we don't have any more sports staff. Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Mr. Bunko,
Sabahansky.
Ms. Coviello,
No.
Mr. Matney,
Yes.
Mr. Tonin.
Yes.
That goes 3-2. She's seated. Since she's still not here, I will ask for names for a vice chairperson at this time.
Can you explain that, Alex? The vice chairperson stands in if the chairperson's not here, is that?
That's the gist of it, yeah.
Okay.
I'm vice chair, but I don't care about it. I'm happy to have anybody
I
else do
nominate,
it. Scott Madden.
Scott.
Second.
Sharon's an alternate, so you're not having seated yet, just FYI. Did you second, Mike?
Yeah.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Mr. Bunko,
Nothing.
Ms. Coviello,
Yes.
Mr. Matney,
Yes, I guess.
Mr. Tonin, yes, 4-0. At this time, I'm gonna seat Mr. Matney and ask him to appoint an alternate for the chairwoman.
So who do we have as alternates now? We have Sharon.
And Michael.
Okay, so we'll just go with Sharon. She was the first name, so we'll do Mike.
And I turn the meeting over to you, sir.
Oh, great. Okay, so we're, adoption of rules of procedure. Do we have written rules of procedure from last time, do you know, or?
We adopted the generic Roberts rules last time.
Okay, so do we have a motion to, adopt the Robert's Rules of Order? Yeah.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We can do a voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do we have the June 5, 2023 meeting minutes?
They're posted. If no one got a chance to read them, I could pull them up and give a synopsis of your life.
I remember, I don't have it here, but I remember seeing them. Oh,
We have
I have a copy right here, if you wanna see it.
I remember it.
It was a long time ago. It's our first
Yeah,
organizational meeting.
yeah.
wanna see it. Do I have to make a motion to approve the rules? Anyone?
Thanks.
Who makes the motion?
Who's the first?
Who's the first
Was
motion?
it Sharon? I think it was Sharon. Was it?
Oh, well, I'll make a motion.
Sharon. Regina, the second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion, opposed?
I'll abstain because I was not here.
Okay, motion carries. Commissioner communications, is there, we're just asking, would anybody ask anything they wanna communicate?
Anything you wanna say? Anything you wanna report back from the Fair Rent Commissions?
I
and the
did have a
meetings we've
question,
attended?
it's more for Alex, because Alex, you know, you're gonna be moving on to better pastures, and so, I'm just curious, like, have they found someone else? Are they still looking for someone else? Cause you're irreplaceable, just so you know, but how is that, you know, gonna work? That's all.
We are diligently and actively looking
Okay,
at this time. It took quite a while to fill it the first time, hoping it doesn't take quite the 2 years it took to fill it that time.
will you be still
I
doing
will,
everything then, or?
I will be supporting everything.
Oh,
Until we
okay.
can
That's
get
what I didn't know if we were gonna be like
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I'm here to support you.
Okay,
I'm hoping the town attorney and assistant town attorney who's
Yeah.
seeing this board will also, they may be taking a little more of the heavy lifting on different boards and commissions until they find somebody.
okay, just wondering.
Great question.
You know, you know. Okay.
Yes, I guess as part of this, I started to say this before we began, but I've had a lot more experience with fair rent, especially in the past year. I've been involved as doing what Alex is doing, mediating for, the city of Bristol and, sitting at those meetings, and also I've represented several people in regard to them, so, there's a lot of different styles, how each town does it, but, I'm only reporting that just for informational purposes. Any other communications? Okay.
Alex, was the, Hattenberg situation resolved?
That situation was, we spoke with the gentleman who represents the tenant union at some communities. He was supposed to talk to Mel and advise how to properly get a complaint that this board would have jurisdiction over. We haven't heard back, that was about 3 weeks ago.
Okay, because we did get a complaint from him.
That complaint was about a month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we rejected it because we couldn't determine what the actual complaint was. Was it money? Was it grass mowing? So we rejected it and advised him, please, just, you can use the same paper, just add a little bit of language letting us know exactly what you're complaining about.
Gotcha.
And then we spoke with the tenant union commissioner as well, advised him, he told us he'd be resubmitting, that was 3 weeks ago, we hadn't heard back.
Yeah, Alex, on that, if I may?
Yeah.
Cause I know I had, sent something to you on that one also. How does it line up, because, normally, if it was a rental, an apartment rental, seniors, elderly, you do have the just clause and all that. But being land rental, it's like a gray area, so how is that gonna even work? I'm just curious, how do we do that?
So I believe our proposed market study and our market study last year has some figures,
Okay.
statewide and locally regarding those rentals.
Okay, okay.
The board would have to take into consideration what a mobile home community landlord is providing as far as utilities, services.
Right.
And then you look at what other surrounding ones are providing and charging, and you have to make a determination just as if it was a 3-family house downtown.
Well, okay, so if they were, if that's what I'm saying, elderly, disabled, they can bring in just cause then. To not be evicted, just cause eviction.
We don't have
That's-
jurisdiction over that. That's the housing court. We don't have any eviction jurisdiction here.
Okay,
We
so
just
they would
have
come from
Dow.
here, and then they could go to their next step would be that?
No, so we didn't hear anything.
Okay,
So they wanna, so how it works is they come here.
Yeah.
And if this board, not me, but if this board renders a decision, either party can appeal that decision
okay,
at the Superior Court level.
okay,
That's different than the eviction, the housing court, eviction court.
okay,
So some communities, or I shouldn't say something, if a landlord was looking to evict somebody, although it's able, doesn't matter, they always have to start at the housing court, at New Britain.
okay, so it's after us, we don't have anything.
Not after us, not connected to us at all.
Okay.
We have zero connections with evictions.
Okay,
The only thing that we have is that there's a prohibition on retaliation based on filing a complaint. So if they don't do what they're supposed to do, if they don't pay their rent, if they serious nuisance, they can evict them anyway. But you can't say, oh, I didn't like that you filed
Right.
a fair rent complaint.
right, okay, okay. Thank you.
Good question.
Any other communications? Moving on, to I, review of complaints filed since last meeting.
So we've had two complaints.
It doesn't look like you have.
The first, and I'm gonna summarize them all, because they're all, we just spoke about one. We had two that went to mediation. I'll summarize them both because they were both almost the same process. They both had to do with a landlord, a new landlord, someone buying the property. And the rents were very, very low when the old owner sold it. And the new owner was bringing those rents up to, under our study, below fair market value. And we mediated those for hours on end, and we came to, and I know some of the members were a little upset at me that I may have went above and beyond to try to find a solution regarding, hey, let's help them move, let's help them box things up, let's help them, there was an issue about who uses the garage, things of that nature. I personally thought it's the town's job to try to find a solution any way possible, even if it's a little bit outside of the rental dollar amount. If we can get everybody happy, I'm happy to spend the time doing it, and I think the taxpayers want me to do that. That was one. The other one was along the same lines, but they had some complaints regarding, updates in the units. They wanted a new vanity put in, a new shower, mirrors put in, small little aesthetic things that really weren't part of had nothing to do with us. But it came up in mediation, and the landlord agreed to do it. They agreed to pull the rent down a little bit more from the proposed. At the end of the day, everyone was elated. The tenants had to pick out the new paint color, they were happy. So it was a win-win, everybody was fairly happy. And then the last one was the one we discussed earlier.
Well, you had the one, I know, that there were a lot of, like, stuff that hadn't been done. And I think the one person was here for like 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
So, and you had all that, and that they had that list that they had to do, and I thought that was wonderful. So-
Because part of the ordinance says we can address
Right,
minor things, not health code violations, which we have to send, but we
Send
have them go to the health department,
Yeah.
building department, but minor things we can talk about to try to make everybody happy.
I just wanted to say that you have done a wonderful job with mediation. And I think we all really appreciate it, and it gets done more quickly, more effectively than if it had to come before a board and schedule a meeting, that takes time. So thank you for taking your time and your patience and for being unbiased and getting these complaints resolved.
Well, I have to come here anyway, so it's one less meeting, if I can get it resolved, one less meeting for me, and for all of you.
I mean, we're all, fair.
Yeah.
They're all fair. You actually, did more for the tenants, and even with updates and everything, so everything, I mean, you did a wonderful job.
And my biggest concern is I don't want the public to think that this board is partisan and pro-tenant or pro-landlord. I really wanna make sure that the mediation paperwork that we check
Right.
out
Right.
is very just even-handed. Everybody gets a little bit, everybody gives a little bit, and I don't think there's anybody that can complain that we're treating people on, we're favoring separate sides.
I mean,
Gives them
we may,
control, too.
yeah, we
They
may
don't-
come up with that down the road, because, well, you said Bristol, I have a friend who lives in Bristol, who lives like apartments, and they did. they took over, but they didn't even give them an option. They literally go, here you go, we want you out. Like, they didn't give an option, all these people had to go right on the street. So, I mean, that's something different though, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking big, the big tenant landlords. If you ever get that, then you've got a whole different circumstance, you know, so.
And there's a lot of, I'm sure Scott's following, there's a lot of huge lawsuits in Camden right now.
Is there,
They're actually combining them all into,
oh, yeah.
like 30 or 40.
Right.
They're combining them into one, because Camden has voted against the landlord every single time. And there's one landlord came in and spent a bunch of money and updated, a huge complex.
Right.
And they're trying, so it's gonna be interesting to see, that's the first real case that's going. So I know I'm following it, and I'll keep you guys all updated on what actually happens. It's going very slow, because the court doesn't know what to do with it.
Right.
They're kinda just like, what the heck is this?
To me, it's those, like,
Yeah.
you have, you know, anyone here rents and you rent out your apartment, you sign a lease, you know what I'm saying, as long as it's like, you go from 1,000 to 3,000, then that's a little different, but, you know what I'm saying, it's more of these apartments that are trying to like come in and, you know, and then just, they don't care.
And the important thing that we're doing here is we're doing it quickly,
Yeah,
because these poor people in Hamden, if the court comes with a decision
yeah,
and overrules the commission, it's gonna be years to come back, right? They're gonna go right away, and they're gonna go 20, 30 grand, and they're gonna be in a really bad spot.
Yeah. And the one town that I was in recently, the cases were taking a year to be heard, which, I mean, even in the Fair Rent Commission, they were doing negotiation. And the thing I'm finding in mediation, and you probably are too, is that nobody wants to come in here because they lose control. And if they end up here, it's usually because somebody wasn't, reasonable, because usually you can find some solution that resolves the
You're betting the
issue.
house if you come here.
Yeah, exactly right, you don't know what's gonna happen. Anything else, Alex, as to that? Okay, moving on, our meeting schedule adoption, our 2024-25 meeting schedule. I think, did we decide last year that we were gonna be scheduled as needed? Is that?
As needed, and we hold myself, my next person who takes over will publish a annual organizational meeting like we had today, a year from now, just to make sure we
no,
have
when we
this.
get someone new, or we have a meeting at least to meet whoever takes over, or?
Probably not.
Oh,
They'll
okay.
probably send an introductory
Okay.
email.
Yeah.
I'll be assigning them that, and I will
Okay.
send an email to you to introduce them all.
Okay, okay.
Do we have a motion to handle it the same way, to set up the meetings as scheduled, as needed?
Make a motion that we set up the meeting as needed, with an annual meeting, what did you call that? An annual-
Organizational meeting.
Organizational meeting.
Very good.
Second.
All in favor?
I'm only saying
Opposed?
no, cause I just think we should have a few during the year, so that any people want to come in, then they can come in.
Well, they would have to apply, they would have to file an appeal. They would
No,
have
no,
to
I'm
do
talking
a
about
session.
our public communications, and many people from the public wanted to come in and talk, that's all.
You mean like an open forum?
Yeah, well, then we have public communications, so sometimes, you know, people come to different meetings, and there are people that, yeah,
And I'm sorry, cause we should have a discussion first probably, so we'll do that first. Is there any other discussion as to that? Okay. In favor of the motion, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone
Aye.
Nay? One nay. Motion carries. And then, are we gonna have a report from, you guys were doing a report as to the rental market sort of study?
Yes, we are. So Michael and I have done a report of rentals over the past year. And the reason why we have this is to help us evaluate issues that come before the board. So, Michael, would you like to do your part?
Sure.
You can explain your part.
Yeah, so what, I did, basically, Sharon and I split tasks, we wanted to look at, a bunch of sources of data for rental comp, so to speak, and I took on the HUD website, where they basically break down what the, reimbursements are for landlords by zip code, so they break it down by the 4 zip codes in Southington. And, in addition to the zip codes, they break it down by if it's an efficiency, a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, or 4-bedroom. So they have kind of the reimbursement rates there by zip code, so that's, a valuable source of data. So if the commission needs to look at what a landlord is charging in rent, there's a pretty good barometer of what rents are in a town, and even by zip code in the town, and by size of the unit, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and so on. I also looked at Zillow, the Zillow website, to see kind of what rents are doing there, and they have like a townwide, some townwide statistics for what the rental range is for rents, and what the median rent is in town. So at a townwide level, it happens to be $15.75. That's the median rent in Southington at that point in time when I did the research several weeks ago. Also, I gathered a bunch of comps of active rentals on Zillow, and there were 11 at the time I looked, and I listed them all there with, how many beds, baths, square feet, the address, and I kind of broke it down by 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, the data there. So, a lot of information. Cheryl will go into what she saw, and what she looked at, but I think there's a lot of stuff we can look at. So if a case is brought to the commission, we've got a lot of, data to look at. One thing Zillow had last year that they don't have this year is I could search, sold comps. So I can go on Zillow and see rentals that sold, and what they sold for. And for whatever reason, that's not available any longer, so I don't have that for this year. So that's what I did, and Sharon will talk about what she did.
Yeah, and that's too bad that they discontinued that. Luckily, we have that on MLS, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. So we're gonna start with the apartment complexes, and I used the same ones that we used in last year's report. And all of them went up except for Summerbrook Apartments, and they happen to be affordable. So when they do Section 8, so they're a little bit lower, and their rates are remaining the same. And one of the things I thought was interesting is that they have 1, 2, and 3-bedroom units in their complex, and their rents range from $1,100 to $1,400 per month. So the 1,100 would be for the 1-bedroom, the 1,400 would be for the 3-bedroom. The 2-bedrooms have 2 levels. If you do not have a basement in your unit, it is $1,200 a month. If you do have a basement, it's $1,300. So I just wanted to point that out. So their rents did not go up. They may go up in the future, but when I called, I guess it was last week or the week before, they had not gone up since last year, and the others have. The next category is the multiple listing, and if you look, what I did was, I have the line items so that you can see all of the properties that were on MLS as rentals. So we have active, we have new, those are also active. We may have some coming soons in here, which would be active as of a particular date. And then you see the closed. So you see the picture right way on the left, the MLS number, and then you see the status, which is what I just explained. Okay, so the first 2 pages are single-family homes, and the rent range went from $1,600 to $4,500 per month. $4,500 is in the executive home category, so those are large homes with upscale finishes and that kind of thing. But I put it down there so you could, just so you would have knowledge of what's on the market. The next would be condos, and those rent ranges go from $1,000 to $2,400 per month. And just so you'll know that the majority of the rentals are the straight rent, and the landlord pays the HOA fee out of the rent. Okay, so, I've had somebody ask me about that, so I just wanted to make that clear, so the tenant is not paying the HOA fee, the, condo owner is. What I did with the multi-family is I broke them down by the number of bedrooms, I think that's important. So, on the multi-family, for the one bedroom, the rental range was from $950 to $1,500. Now, these may vary because some of them may include heat and, utilities, so electric, and, some of them, the tenant is going to have to pay themselves. 2 bedrooms, and we had a lot of these. So we had, what, 3 pages? Yeah, so there's 3 pages here. These rents ranged from $975 to $2,150. You know, so in that range, you'll find that there might be, a different number of, bedrooms, and there may be, you know, differences in who's paying utilities and that kind of thing. Garages, so there's a lot of variables. And the 3 bedroom, the rent range went from $1,600 to $2,650. And that is it for the MLS. And again, look at the status, because the closed ones mean that someone is leasing it, okay? So they have a lease or a rental agreement in place. Okay, mobile home parks. And I just wanted to give a little background on mobile home parks, before I go over the data. And just to let you know that when you buy a mobile home, you're buying the unit only. You are not buying the land in these parks. You are leasing the land. So your rent is paid on a monthly basis. That rent may include things, such as snow removal, landscaping, may have, clubhouse and that kind of thing, some kind of amenities. Most of the mobile home parks that I've come across, they only do landscaping, or not landscaping, snow removal, road repair, and that kind of thing of the common areas only. So that the owner of the mobile home is responsible to maintain their own yard. So they have to do their own landscaping, they have to do their own snow removal, just the main roads would be taken care of. So we have, actually 4 parks in Southington. First is Apple Valley Village, and that's at 217 Dunham Street. Their land lease is $495 a month, that includes water, sewer, and trash, okay? So this amount may vary, it depends on the size of the unit. And the second, the last 3 are all run by and owned by Sun Communities. So you have, Cedar Springs, which is on West Queen Street and Aircraft Road. You have Forest Hill on Redstone, and you have 3 Gardens over on Queen Street. And as you can see, their, rents, Cedar Springs is $589 a month, Forest Hill is $613 a month, and 3 Gardens is $577 a month. This is an increase over last year. These rents include water, sewer, trash, and that includes your leaves and all that, organic materials, road maintenance, snow removal, and they have the following amenities, but it's, I think, at the Redstone complex. So you can see on the next page, there's a whole list. They have a fitness center, they have horseshoes, shuffleboard, library, outdoor swimming pool, pavilion, billiards, card table, clubhouse, coffee bar, and they have a common area Wi-Fi, and community center with a fully equipped kitchen, and it's actually pretty nice. Their clubhouse is really pretty nice. And they do have gardening areas, I have to say, I've seen them, but I didn't see them on here. So they do get quite a bit for their, monthly fee. Does anybody have any questions for us?
Did you have a summary, excuse me, without us looking back to last year's and comparing, do you have a comparison of, you know, the increases on all of those from last year?
Yes. Let me see, I know I've got it here somewhere. Just bear with me a minute.
I just didn't know if it was in ours, in the list, that's all.
Okay, let's see. I believe that Apple Valley stayed the same so far.
Okay.
They may possibly go up. All right, with Sun Communities, last year,
You don't have to go through, I just didn't know if you had a summary page, that's all, I didn't know.
oh, I don't have a page,
Okay,
I can
no.
tell you what it was.
I mean, I have the last year's, I mean,
Oh, you
I
have
just
last
didn't know if you had one, so it's easier than going back and forth,
Yeah,
that's all.
well, I
That's
have
all.
it, if you wanted me to go over it.
Yeah, I can look.
I do have the HUD rates up if you wanna know, I just pulled them up since
I was
we
just, you know what I'm saying, cause I just didn't know, so even the apartments, what were the increases, you know what I
Look,
mean?
I can give you a quick, I just pulled up old HUD rates.
Oh, okay.
So if you wanna just use 06489 on the first page of the,
Okay.
so last year, a efficiency was $1,000 a month.
Okay.
One bedroom was $1,200 a month. A two bedroom was $1,490 a month. A three bedroom was $1,810 a month. And a four bedroom was $2,450. I'm sorry, I lied to you. Three bedroom was $2,020 a month. And a four bedroom was $2,450 a month. So they, I'm sorry, $2,210 a month, so they did go up $20 each.
Any other discussion, questions?
Now, so my question is, okay, so now we have these new figures, and then we do have averages, but as a fair rent commission, yes, we can look at those averages, but ours is against increases. So if one of these went up $700, you know what I'm saying, we have to go by that. We can look at all this information, but as far as, you know, excessive, rent increase, we have to look at that first, correct?
There's 13 considerations that we can look at all those things, and generally speaking, when there are hearings, one side, usually the landlord, is gonna show a basis for why they feel that rate increase reflects the market, and they're going to do that. But this
That
is supposed,
changes-
I think this is supposed to be helpful to us.
Right,
For
okay.
something to, us to
Okay.
reference, but obviously, every house, every apartment's gonna
Right.
be different. They're gonna have to justify it, like,
That's why.
some places probably should be way below what
Right.
a year, and some should be higher, you know, but I think that's completely up to us,
Right.
just using this as a general guide.
Well, and that's different from last year, because when I said that last year, I was told that the landlords don't even have to show up, they don't have to give a reason, and I feel that they have to give a reason.
They don't,
Whether it's taxes, this, or whatnot.
so my belief is, the complainant is bringing the
Right.
complaint. So
Right.
it's their duty to show us that we should take some action. But that being said, the landlord, if the landlord didn't show up at all, and the tenant still didn't convince us, we wouldn't have to rule in the tenant's favor, but the tenant would most likely be much more likely to be successful if the landlord didn't show up, you
Right.
know?
Right.
Generally speaking, if they don't show up, I would think that was negative.